for coming.
Yeah, we really appreciate everyone taking some time and joining us today. All right, well, with that being said, I'll keep monitoring as people want to jump in, but we can jump right into it. So welcome everyone. It's for our career coaching hour, specifically career transition. And here's a quick little agenda for what we're going to go through today. We are going to the introduction, talk a little bit about logistics as to how this event's going to work, because it's slightly different than our normal events if you've been to any of them in the past. And then we will jump right into the coaching aspect of things. So for those of you coming to us through Eventbrite, we are Ama La Vida. We are a life, health and wellness, leadership, and career coaching company. And my name is Justice, and I am the sales manager and a relationship strategist here on the team. And what that means is when you schedule a time to speak with someone on our team, we'll have a half-hour complimentary conversation where we're going to learn more about you and your current situation, what your goals are, and really just dive deeper to figure out how we at Ama La Vida can best help you. And so if there is anything that anyone wants to get off of mine initially, I'm going to go ahead and drop my calendar link right now. It is first come, first serve. And anyone who comes to us from an event gets their first session free. So make sure you came to us from a webinar. So the way that this event is going to work, we are going to spotlight our coach Sherry, and then we are going to ask everyone to raise their hand. And they're going to come up first come, first serve, and you will be spotlight with Sherry. And you're going to have a chance to just ask anything about career transitioning, anything front of mind that you'd like to just talk to a coach about. We're going to prioritize this by people who are willing to come on camera and off of mute to speak with her. And so if you're uncomfortable with doing so, you may also write your questions in the chat. We're just going to go through the people that want to come on camera with Sherry first to get a sense of what it really is like to coach with Ama La Vida. And come off mute, and then please remember that this is being recorded and sent out. So pick and choose how comfortable you are with the information that you do want to share. So with that being said, we have Coach Sherry with us today, who is a leadership and career coach here with us. And then Sherry, do you want to give a little bit of insight into the types of things that you like to work with your clients with?
Sure. Hey, welcome everybody. This is so much fun. I coach across leadership and career here at ALV. Some of my specialties are rising leaders through the ranks and specifically career transition, which is what we're going to be talking about today. And what that means is moving from one career and pivoting to a different career. Sometimes it's a slight course correction. Sometimes it's a 180. We're gonna see what kind of questions we get today to talk about it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sherry. And then if anyone wants to get in connect, those are both of our emails. And then I also put down the consult link if you want to hop on my schedule. So let me know. And with that being said, we are ready to go. So if anyone has the first question that they would like to ask for Coach Sherry, I do ask that you raise your hand, and the floor is open to anyone and everyone.
All right, who's ready? I'm ready. All I know, just so you know, is I am looking at myself in this big gigantic picture, and it's lonely without somebody with me. So who's raising their hand? Nobody yet? So
you could also type a question in the chat too if you're uncomfortable with coming on camera. So that
I don't bite. Even through Zoom, I don't bite. So yesterday or this morning,
we have a question.
Oh, good. Okay.
Perfect. We have Joyce. One moment while I spotlight you.
Welcome, Joyce.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm Dawn from London. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to ask a question. I'll jump straight in. What advice, or I guess you don't give advice, you more so coach, but I'm moving from a career with young people, so 16 to 19-year-olds, to now working with adults.
Okay.
In a new coaching position, people leadership coaching position. How's best to handle that?
So tell me, if you wouldn't mind, tell me position title that you have now and the one that you're going to, so I can see what the difference is in what the responsibilities are.
Okay, so the position title I have now is head of sixth form. I'm not sure if you have that in America. That's like 16 to 19-year-olds.
Okay.
And then the position I'm moving to is people leadership coach. So less kind of directive, more coaching, now with adults, where there will be still teaching a little bit, but deadlines and, with adults instead.
Okay, so how much time do you have before you transition to your new role?
3 weeks.
3 weeks. Head of sixth form, so you were in academics?
Yeah.
And now the people leader, is that academic still, or is that corporate?
It's with a company. It's with a company. It's slightly academic, but not as much as it's not in schools. So this will be remote working with adults compared to being in school with children.
Okay, so one of the things that I would suggest is when you get to your new position is think about who are you going to be interacting with the most, and reach out to them. Are you going to be doing, is this fully remote, your people coaching position?
Yeah, hybrid. So it's like once a month in, but it's mostly remote. Yeah.
Okay, I would identify some key players and reach out to chat. A cold reach out. Hey, I'm new here. I would love to chat and find out what you do here. And with that becomes practice of talking back to adults on a regular basis, more so than the teenagers.
Okay. So are you saying reach out to colleagues or reach out to those that I'll be coaching?
No, reach out to colleagues.
Okay.
I mean, the people that you're going to be coaching, that's going to come with time and practice. And I would tell you also, from my perspective, and I'm taking off my coaching hat a little bit and putting on my advising hat a little bit for this conversation. If you're feeling uncomfortable with this, I would practice. Put on your Zoom, practice to yourself, just having those conversations so that you can start to feel more comfortable. That's a space that I like to live in when I'm feeling a little uncomfortable. Is I'll practice so I get the muscle memory going for myself. Another thing is finding out, because you're shifting from teenagers, which actually was probably a lot more work because you had to figure out what was culturally relevant for them so that you could speak that right language, is again shifting and reframing what that language looks like now, dealing with a different set of, we'll call it, clientele.
Yeah.
So learning what's culturally relevant now in this space and what that language looks like here. Don't forget to give yourself your wins too, right? That's a big shift going from teenagers to a different demographic completely. So make sure you're giving yourself those wins every time you're seeing them.
Okay, what do you mean by giving yourself wins each time you see them?
So it's, first of all, it's really hard to recognize a win, so I shouldn't say that so flippantly, and I apologize that I did. But when you're starting to feel good about things, I would look for something that you're doing well every day, so that you can say, okay, yeah, I got this now. I got this now. So that will build your confidence. It will help you recognize things that you're doing that are being well received, and that'll build that self-sustaining cycle along with the practice and the muscle memory. So when you're engaging with this new group, you'll start to really feel your groove.
Right. Okay. Great. Thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Don't forget to raise your hand if you want to get on camera. You can put stuff in the chat.
Yes. Next up, thank you so much, Joyce, for engaging. Next up, we have Stephanie. Stephanie, the floor is yours.
Hi, Stephanie.
Oh, you're on mute, Stephanie.
Stephanie, you're on mute.
Hi there, I'm Stephanie. I live in Chicago, where I know there's an office not too far from me. I have had a really rough couple of weeks emotionally. I've been working in call center positions for the last couple of years, and I finally got to a point where I realized I could live off savings for a little while.
Okay.
So I'm taking a few months off to try to just decompress before I start looking for a job again.
Okay.
So I worked in high volume call centers, just taking call after call a day. Most recently, I worked in a tech support role. I do have my bachelor's degree. It's not specialized. I graduated from college back in 2010, but I still haven't really found my path. I'm interested in getting into recruiting. I've been looking at coordinator roles. I've been looking at becoming a sourcer. So I'm very nervous. Um, I'm very stressed out because right now I kind of feel like I'm just not ready to start another job and be able to, knock it out of the park starting day one. I feel like I need some time to just gather myself and just, start to feel better.
Okay.
What's been really stressful is that I actually had hired a self-proclaimed career coach to try to help me get this process started. And I don't think she was really prepared to deliver what I wanted. And she just sent me an email saying that I basically wanted too much from her and I was a difficult client and she couldn't deal with that. So that really hurt because I definitely did not mean to be a rough client. I told her up front, I'm overwhelmed. I feel like, it's a big change. And, I even told her I'm not ready to start actually applying yet. I need, another month or two just to hang loose. So I am trying to learn more about different companies and different options that are available both in the Chicago area and also remote, but it's very overwhelming.
Very overwhelming. 100%. I'm agreeing with you. It's very hard to look for a job or look for a role when you don't know what you want to do, because there's just so much. Let's first start, if you wouldn't mind, let's shut our eyes and we're going to do 2 deep breaths because I can see you're overwhelmed. So I just want to, let's get back. I'll do it with you. So I'm going to shut my eyes too. We're going to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose and out through the mouth. All right, we can open our eyes and then we can start to talk about this a little bit. Okay, so first I'm apologizing on behalf of career coaches everywhere. I apologize that you received that email. That's very disorienting to get something like that when you're working towards something new. Okay, so tell me, what are you doing to relax? You said you have about 3 months before you really want to get into it. What are you doing? What makes you feel good?
I am taking I am checking an item off the bucket list in a few weeks. I am going to be traveling north up the California coast from LA to San Francisco and stopping along the way in Carmel by the Sea in Monterey. So
Awesome.
I'm really excited because this is something that I've wanted to do all my life. So
So that sounds like a great trip. But 2, I like the way that you have carved out some time to not look. What do you think made you, in her eyes, a difficult client? Can you give me some sense of what difficult is, defining how she defined difficult, so that I can get some context?
Sure. She said that I had cut her off a couple of times when she was talking. We only had 1 hour a week and she was just going through like a slideshow. And I told her up front, some of this is not really things that I can myself relate to. And I also just really wanted her to understand, like, I am extremely anxious and overwhelmed about making this change. And I I really do want to be able to talk about that with her because, I chose her out of all the potential coaches to choose from out there. And I just kind of feel like she didn't really want to hear it. But that was her feedback, that I just cut her off.
Okay.
And that she found me a little bit inconsiderate.
This helps. I don't find you inconsiderate. I find you overwhelmed. I can see in your face, completely overwhelmed.
Right. Thank you.
Let me ask you a question.
Mhm.
The job that you're transitioning from, high volume call center. Can you tell me 3 things you liked about working there?
Well, in my last role, I really did not enjoy it because it was tech support.
Okay.
I did not like having to troubleshoot different devices all
Okay.
day. When I first started working in a call center, I was actually in sales. I really like the energy in my office and on our team. It was good energy. It was often fun to go to work, which I haven't experienced that in the last few years, where I could say that my job's been fun.
Okay.
I would say that I do like talking to different people. I got to talk to clients from all over the country and Canada when I was working in my first sales position.
Okay.
So just learning about different people and getting to chat with different business owners and customers, it was interesting. The days went quick, so I did enjoy that.
I just want to make sure I'm understanding. So you're telling me about an experience that you had prior to this very last job. This last job, tech support, troubleshooting, didn't really align with you. Prior to that, you were doing sales, and that was where you felt that energy and that good rapport with your team and talking to the various people.
I enjoyed that part of it. I
Okay.
did not like the extreme stress that came
Okay.
with that position. It went when that company got a new CEO, my job started feeling like things were changing very quickly and it wasn't the same. And it became more of like a pressure cooker environment. I want to be realistic, and I understand that there's going to be pressure in most jobs, unless you work for yourself. But I think in most companies, you have to deal with pressure and, changing metrics and things like that. But, there's a point where it's too much. And I think it definitely became too much at the end. But yeah, I am an outgoing person and I like talking to people, and a job where I can talk and interact with different personalities. I do enjoy that.
All right, so let's play a quick game. I tell you, you have to go back to this job that you just had. You have to. That's the only rule of the game. But I give you 3 genie wishes, right? You rub the lamp, the genie came out, you get 3 wishes. You can change any 3 things about the job, but you have to go back to this job.
My last job.
The one that you just left. What do you do with these 3 wishes to make it palatable for you?
I would change my hours. First of all, I was on a 10 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. shift, and it was hard because I got off later than I wanted to, and I felt like I didn't really have a lot of downtime during the week.
Okay.
I would add in more flexibility, because at a call center, I don't know if anybody else on this call has ever worked for a call center. You can't get up and take a walk in the middle of the day if you're stressed out. You get 2 15-minute breaks and a 30-minute lunch, and you have to be chained to that phone the entire time. I cannot do that again. But you asked what I would change that for sure.
Okay. And you have one more wish.
Um, I guess if I had like one or two more friends at my previous job, because I didn't really talk to anybody, that was kind of hard. I think when you have a bad job, it's always helpful when you have a couple good relationships at work. So at least, you don't have to go through it alone.
So here's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that it's not only a content situation with your job, that you didn't like just what you were doing. You also didn't like where you were doing it. So I'm
I didn't
seeing,
feel I didn't have any friends at work, and it was remote. But in other remote jobs, I still had people that I talked to, people that I, could text and be like, "Oh my God, today was brutal." I didn't have that. It was very much like, I clocked in, I did my job, and I clocked out. But I didn't have any like good relationships with people there. I didn't have any bad relationships with people there. I just didn't have anybody that I talked to when I was off the clock.
right. So I'm hearing in the new role, whatever that looks like, because we haven't determined that yet. You're also looking for a culture piece, kind of company that you're working for, that would allow you to have some more flexibility, have some socialization with coworkers, and also a new piece of content, not doing this heavy calling, yet something that has a lot of people interaction. That's what I'm
Yes, I
hearing.
would say that's all accurate.
Okay. I want to give you two pieces of homework to go away with,
Okay.
to work on. The first is, I would love for you to be fully present on your cool trip. Right? If you took the time to do it and it's a bucket list item, this is going to be here when you come back. Right? Career transition is going to be here when you come back. So I would love for you to be present in your trip, pull out one memory a day, like at the end of the day, like, oh my God, this was my favorite part of the day. Either journal it, note it, put it in your phone, take a picture somewhere, and just something so that you're present for your trip. So that's your first piece of homework, is be present on your trip. Second piece of homework is, when you come back, I would love for you to create a 4-column list for yourself. I call it the 4-column exercise because, I'm creative and that's a cool name for it. The 4 columns are love, like, don't like, and explore.
Okay. I'm going to note that on my phone.
No problem. Obviously, you can see there's no hate in this list. That's because everyone then just makes a full list of hate, and that's the end of the exercise. What I want you to fill them in with is personal and professional things that fall into these categories. And I want you to be really honest with yourself about the difference between what you like to do and what you love to do, having nothing to do with what you're good at. Because that's also a roadblock people hit, that put a ton of stuff in their love column. They don't really love to do it, but they're good at it. So discern the difference between love and like, and then the difference between hate and don't like, because there's no hate. Explore is I have them, they're shower thoughts for me. I don't know when other people have them. So the explore column is the stuff that's going on in your head where you're in your deepest, darkest moment. Like I said, for me, it's the shower, where you're like, I wonder what it would be like to be a ballerina. I wonder what it would be like to be a skydive instructor. I wonder what it would be like to be the president of a company. I wonder if I can be the person who names nail polish. Like, whatever your fantasy type exploration piece is. And again, professional and personal, no filters, because no one's going to see this but you, or if you come to coaching, your coach, because it's a great foundation to start. Look for patterns. Look for things that disconnect, and look for things that are patterns. I'm going to give you an example. I had a client do this list, and when he came back to me and we were talking, he said to me, I'm so embarrassed to share this list with you because in my explore, I want to be a UPS man. I said, so why are you embarrassed by that? And he said, I'm 37 years old. I have a family, and I want to explore being a UPS man. I said, well, let's talk about it. So we broke it down, and what we realized is he liked being part of a team, but he didn't want to be in the office. He liked the idea of working for a large company, but he liked having the autonomy of his own space. He liked interacting with clients. We broke it down. Long story short, after we put that against the things in his other 3 columns, we were able to get a picture of the kinds of work he would like to do. So when we started looking at different roles, we weren't looking at titles. We were looking at things he liked to do, because those things fell across a lot of different titling. And then we were able to have a foundation to start to explore the different areas that he thought might work for him. So that's what I'm going to give you for homework to start with.
Okay.
And I think that might give you a foundation to start your career transition. So I'm repeating homework for you. Be present on your trip. And then the 4-column exercise: love, like, don't like, explore. And
Okay.
look for your patterns. When things get so overwhelming for you, just stop for a minute. Just stop. It's okay. Stop. Revisit your vacation. Take a moment back. And then go back to looking at patterning.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome.
My contact information was up there. Reach out with any questions and report back.
Absolutely.
Please, if you don't mind, after trip, let me know how it goes and how you're doing.
I absolutely will. Thank you so much.
You're welcome,
Thank you
Stephanie.
so much, Stephanie, for engaging with us today. Best of luck with everything, and get in
Thanks.
contact if you need anything. All right, next up we have Ashley. Ashley, whenever you're ready to come off camera, I can spotlight you. And there you go. The floor is yours.
Hi, Ashley.
Nice to meet you. Thanks so much for your
That's
help.
You're welcome. Oh, what's going on the board behind you first? Tell me.
This is my kitchen. I have the menu on there.
Oh, what are we making tonight? Is that Korean cauliflower tacos?
Yeah.
Mm. So are we all, where did you say you lived?
I'm in Winnipeg, Canada.
So we can't all come for dinner. Okay.
No, sorry. Another time. So my question for my transition is that I am in the process of leaving my entrepreneurship time of my career. I just sold my company and I'm wanting to
Congratulations.
thank you. I'm wanting to get back into a position where I'd have really good work-life balance in the marketing world. But my career experience is so extremely varied and almost generalized, because as an entrepreneur, you're doing so many different things. And I'm
Right.
finding it difficult to figure out which direction I would like to take with roles, because there's so many different ones out there. And B, when I like one, sorry, I should back up. I've been spending time researching companies that I think would be a great cultural fit and that have wonderful benefits.
That's a great exercise.
But then I find that most of them are quite large, and even outside of my entrepreneurship experience, I've always worked for smaller companies. So my titles have been like marketing manager. So that encompasses so many things compared to a big company that has like 30 people in their marketing team.
Right.
So I guess what I'm asking is, how do I figure out how to target a role and get noticed when I have such a wide variety instead of a niche experience?
Okay. That's a huge question. And I'm going to try to answer it as best I can.
Okay.
First, let me ask you a couple of questions. What was your business?
Oh, sorry. I had an e-commerce boutique.
Oh, awesome. What did you sell?
Women's intimates.
I need to get to Canada. Women's intimates and a good menu. All right. Okay. So you're transitioning from that into some kind of marketing role. You've identified companies that you have interest in. What area of marketing is appealing to you?
So far, the roles that have been most exciting to me have been digital marketing manager, growth marketing manager. And one of the people I connected with early on in my job search process she was great. She liked my resume and I had submitted like a portfolio as well.
Right.
But they were already in an offer stage with someone, and she suggested I dig into account-based marketing, and that's very intriguing to me. But I recently applied to a role like that, and they told me that while they liked what I sent in for my application, I just didn't have the right experience. Even though I tried to target what I had done in my previous roles for B2B
Right.
into the language that might be applicable, but I know like there's going to be tons of people that I'm not going to align with. I just wasn't sure. I'm feeling a bit lost of how to convey my skills to a corporate role.
Okay, so it sounds to me that you're doing the right things by targeting and making sure you're aligning your language. I would take a look and see what your resume looks like. Is it too general? Like if you're trying to translate your skills over, you want to have a resume that's, let me back up just 1 second. Resumes are sell sheets. Okay, so you don't have to tell your whole story on that one page.
Okay.
You want to tell enough of your story to do essentially 2 things. 1, get through the applicant tracking system. And 2, get somebody's eyes to think that you have enough of the right words on that page to call you.
Okay.
Right? Those are the only 2 things that your resume needs to do at this current time. So if you're using that same resume for all 3 of these spaces, you're selling yourself short because you're trying to tell them all the information about you in one space.
Okay.
So you want your resume to be really optimized for each of these spaces. One of the ways that I do that with clients is I have them create what I call a foundational resume. That way, when you're tweaking, and I know this is harsh news, nobody ever likes hearing this, you have to tweak every single resume. You just do.
Okay.
But you want to create a foundation for digital. You'll want to create a foundation for growth. And then you'll want to create a foundation for the account-based. When I say foundation, I mean experience down, because that is your foundation for those 3 areas. Then what you'll optimize is that top section, which will be your summary, your key skills, and anything you want to highlight that 100% relates to this particular role.
Okay.
So that's where you want to talk the right language. So you're not going to tell your entire marketing story on this one page. You're going to tell the pieces that highlight the things that associate in the language that fits that space.
Okay.
So even though you're a generalist, you can narrow down into the silo and pull the pieces for that.
Okay.
Big key: results. Lead with your results. If you don't have numbers, because we're always like trying to throw numbers on our resume, right? Like increased growth by not. If you don't have numbers that are impactful, use qualitative language.
Okay. So like in my last corporate role, we were really removed from sales. So we worked with product managers and would help them with all of their presentations and events and that sort of thing. But unfortunately, I wasn't privy to what our end results were.
Right.
So I would describe that as like with words like improved or.
Correct.
Okay.
Qualitative language and action words, right? Improved, increased, decreased, streamlined, successfully, efficiently, drove, grew. Words that give a result without a number.
Okay, cool.
And you actually want to reverse your sentences so that you're leading with the result.
Okay.
Remember, this is not English. You're not getting graded on what your resume looks like.
Okay.
And you want to use that same language so you optimize through your space. Again, that resume is your sell sheet. So you're in marketing. Here's how I always, when I'm doing this for myself or when I'm working with clients such as yourself, you're your own product. Can you create a product that you can almost disconnect from yourself? Because it's so hard when it's yourself. You look at your resume, I have to put every piece of context in, I have to tell them every little story. Create yourself as a product. You're the Ashley. Ashley and Co., Ashley Limited, whatever you want to call yourself, and then create a job project as if you would any other client.
Okay.
And the objective is secure this role in X company, in X department. What's the materials and the collateral you're putting together around that, knowing the marketplace?
Okay.
And then apply it to yourself. Remembering that resume is a sell sheet. It's all the sizzle.
Okay.
Your LinkedIn is the stake. That gives you the opportunity to expand your narrative. So you can put more context. You can give more of the general other things that value add that you bring to the table.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I thought that I would keep, because I also haven't done this for 10 years. My LinkedIn is more simple. So you're saying to add all of everything into LinkedIn. Okay. I'll do that too.
A lot of times, probably when you're creating something in a marketing standpoint, right? You funnel, you start with a lot and then you bring it down to something core. I have a background in marketing too, just so you know. Okay. This is the opposite. You work from your smallest piece out. So it's a reverse triangle. Not a reverse triangle. It's a triangle instead of a funnel. This teeny weeny part at the top of the triangle, that's your resume. Then you build from it the next third of the triangle. That next part is that social media piece, that LinkedIn, that networking piece. That's where the story's staying the same. So it's consistent because they're all on top of each other, but you can expand that narrative. That way you can control the narrative in your resume. Right? You're wanting to know how to get them to see you a certain way. You control that narrative. Only tell them what you want them to know. I'm not saying make anything up. It has to be legitimate. It has to be genuine, but you can pick and choose what you're highlighting in that sell sheet. And then that bottom piece is that interview where you can really expand that narrative and adapt it to what you know how to do and how to transfer those skills to what the company is looking for. What are their pain points? How are you talking to them?
Okay.
So what's your next step?
I think I need to, for the next position that I want to apply for, well, actually, before that, I need to break my resume into those foundational ones targeted to the roles, because I had been taking a base one and changing it for each role, but it sounds like that'd be way easier if I start with the 3 job types that I'm considering. And then I also need to build out the longer version in my LinkedIn.
Okay. Pro tip,
Mm-hmm.
keep a blank doc open so that you never lose anything you're rewriting.
Okay.
Because then that makes it shorter when you have to tweak.
Okay.
Yeah. It sounds to me like you have a lot of experience to draw from. Just not, you don't need to bring it all up at the same time.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
I'm going to tell you the same thing. You have my email, reach out, let me know how it's going.
Okay.
And if you need me to, look, you have any questions, just reach out.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Good luck. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ashley. All right, so we did have a question come through in the chat, so I'm scrolling back up to read it to you, Sherry.
Okay.
How do you successfully transition from 100% face-to-face work to effective and comfortable remote work?
Can whoever asked that question, if you wouldn't mind just coming off mic and giving me a little bit more detail about what you're asking me? Because the how is you find a job that does that, but I don't think that's what you're asking me. So
I don't mind. That was my question. So it's Joyce again. I'll ask the
Hi,
first
Joyce.
question. Hi. It's more so, so it's a coaching position that's going to be remote working. So, from going like face to face, even when, it was locked down, I was still going into schools. Now it's going to be remote. How do you transition? It feels like a different world. So how do you transition? Well, so you're looking after your mental health, So you're looking after yourself, but also so you are ready for that.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying. I really appreciate it. It changes the answer. Are you, Joyce, do you have a spot that you're working in, or are you going to be working all over your place, or do you have a designated spot?
Yeah, I'll have a designated spot. Yeah.
Okay, so that's an important piece to this, because then you'll know you're framing that's work. Especially when you're first transitioning. When you get more used to it, it's not as difficult to just pick up your laptop or whatever and go to another part of your space. But when you're first transitioning, you're accustomed to working X to X, and you go here to do it. So that's the slow transition. I would, a couple of different things that I've always recommended and other colleagues have recommended. We have awesome coaches at ALV who give us we get to share best practices. So one, have your designated space. Two, put something in that space that resonates with you. So if you're posting a picture, you're posting a quote, a photo of somebody that really motivates you, something that makes that space for you comfortable to be in and motivating for you to do your work. Set up one-on-ones with yourself, literally calendar time to check in with yourself. Am I okay? Do I need to change up my environment? Am I giving myself enough self-care? Do I need to take more walks? Do I need to get up from the computer? Should I schedule breaks during the day for myself? Do I have a lunch hour? What's working for me this week? What can I be doing better? What do I want to celebrate? Literally a one-on-one check-in with yourself, like you would do with an employee or somebody on your team. So that's one thing. Second thing is, becomes very isolating when you're working remote if you don't start to develop something outside of staring at that screen all day. So join a group, even if it's a virtual group, just to interact with people. Put things on the calendar to socialize outside of work. Most importantly is making sure that you just don't end up funneling onto the computer all day. Set an alarm for breaks, build in that lunch hour, get up, even if you just change your room a few times a day. You don't even have to take your laptop with you, just get your body up. I'll give you an example. You can all see my office here. So I am on the top floor of my house. There's a bathroom right next door. I don't use that bathroom during the workday. I make a point of going downstairs to the downstairs bathroom. That way I know I'm coming out of my space. I'm seeing something different. I'll look out a different window just to break it up. I would check locally to see if there's any groups who like to do things that you do, so that you have something to look forward to that isn't just in the house. Does that help? Does that answer for you? Does that help? Is that helpful?
That's helpful, yeah, because even though many people are used to working from home now, since the pandemic, for those that haven't, it's still a bit new. So yeah, I just want to put in healthy habits now, so then I know and I'm set up in the right way. So yeah, that's helpful. I've made some notes. Develop something outside of work, get up, but I think working in education is quite easy to forget about your lunch breaks, because I was surrounded by teenagers who do not stop. So actually now having the autonomy to choose when I want break and stuff will be an amazing privilege, but also I want to use it wisely and make sure that I am taking breaks, because as you can tell, I've got books, I'm quite goal orientated, and we'll just continue to go until I reach that goal. So it's really important to schedule those breaks in. Yeah, I just want to be in the best state, because I'll be learning quite a lot, but I'll also be helping people quite a lot.
And there, you know what, you want to, I have always found this helpful. My clients have found this helpful. My colleagues have always recommended this. And this is an area where I'm still learning too, is set your boundaries early and work to enforce them. It's okay to say no to something. No is a complete sentence. You don't have to give any reasons, but also set those boundaries so that you can get accustomed to them. You're in control of them. You can always change them, but set them so that you know where something starts and where something ends.
And how do you when you're first starting something, saying no is quite difficult because obviously you want to leave a good impression, you want to do your best. So how do you set boundaries and reinforce them?
I would say
We've
first
started.
first week or so, you want to get the lay of the land and the players and see who's who, and but also during that same time is figuring out what works for you. If working past, and I'm just going to pick a number, if working past 6 o'clock at night doesn't work for you, set that expectation with your coworkers and your senior people immediately. Hey, just want to let you know I'm available from here to here. After this time, I'm not productive. Then way you don't have to say no. You're setting that expectation that you're not going to be asked to do things at that time. We had a discussion a number of months ago among coaches and talking about best work practices. And we found that what's traditional doesn't always work. What's important is communicating it. So I have colleagues who don't prefer to work right smack dab in the middle of the day. That's even though that's what traditional is, that doesn't work for them. They have other things. So they prefer to work at night, or they'll prefer to work in the morning, or they'll prefer to work on a weekend. As long as you communicate what that expectation is for yourself and politely let people know what that looks like, it's easier to set that boundary. So that way, when someone reaches out to you, and again, let's just say we said 6 o'clock, reaches out to you at 6:30, you don't have to feel compelled to answer. Or you can send a quick note and say, hey, I will get back to you on this tomorrow. Then the key there is making sure you get back to them, is that follow through piece.
Okay. Yeah, it might be just setting that boundary earlier on and only replying after 9 and before 5 p.m. So really setting that expectation, and then people see that pattern.
Absolutely. I wish you the best of luck. It sounds like it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's a great position, so I'm very excited. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Joyce. So it looks like we have a few minutes left here at the end. I'm sure, do you want to talk about anything that can be used as a blanket for transitioning, that you've seen some trends or seen that you with your own clients that you've helped, some last minute thoughts for people to kind of leave?
So transitioning is, for me, one of the biggest things that I see, a trend that I see is, and I don't think this is so different from what Stephanie was feeling a little bit of, is trying to discern the difference of when I'm transitioning, is it content of my job, culture of the place I'm working, or a combination of both? And sometimes you like what you're doing, you just don't like where you're doing it. So I'm always encouraging my clients to start to, I call it a roadmap, start to actually list out all the things that they want from a job, from the sublime to the ridiculous. Like, I want a manager who has green hair. That's important to me. It doesn't have to align with anybody else. And then you take a second column and rate out how negotiable you would be on these things. Then the third column is notes and contingencies, because we all know nothing is so absolute. So my example is, I will only work for a manager with green hair. That's totally non-negotiable for me in my next role. And then in notes, blue hair is okay, but no other colors. And then you can start to see what your priorities are for your next role, both skill set, content, and benefit and culture. So you list it all out. then what you have set for yourself, and that's dynamic, that will change as you do your exploration. But as you come across roles, you could always measure it against that and see, okay, here's my roadmap. Am I meeting my roadmap? If not, why? And what am I willing to give on? Because this is a balance. When you're transitioning, it's a balance. It's how do I take what I know how to do and what I'm good at and what I like and put it over here. So it's always finding that piece of balance that is that's the transition part. That's the hard part. Let as many people as you can know that you're looking to transition, because people want to help. They want to connect you. They want to support you as you move forward.
Thank
But
you.
I saw you make a face at me. Do you have a question?
No,
Yes.
I was saying this. Thank you so much for all your time today. I'm going to drop the consult link and link to our website if you want to read more about Ama, Lavita, Sherry, and any of the other coaches that we do have on the team. You can go ahead and do that there. And then additionally, I'm going to drop the link to our YouTube channel where you can see some past recordings. Sherry's done a lot of them, so you can go see some more of her in action, as well as the other coaches, as well as the Eventbrite link for all upcoming events that we do have. And then one more time, my and Sherry's emails, should you want to get in contact with us that way. But additionally, just be on the lookout for that email with the recording and everything you would need. That should come out about tomorrow. But if there, we have one person that just DM'd me asking, can I ask a quick question about a resume? Absolutely. Would you like to come off of mute and or camera? We've got a few minutes left here at the end.
Let's hear it.
All right.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Shri, and I am a career relauncher. And I was unsure about my outdated resume, so I hired somebody to get my resume updated. After I received the resume, I felt like it was too pumped up. Is that a common feeling amongst relaunchers, or is it my insecurities and lack of confidence because I've been out of job for so many years? I'm not sure.
So there's no absolute answer for that, only because I'm not looking at your resume and knowing what your history is. I'm going on a limb to say it's probably a little of both. It's okay to have your resume pumped up, right? Remember, it's a sell sheet. So you have to sell what your attributes are and what your key skills are, of those skills that are going to translate for your next position. What you want to be mindful of is not to lie.
Right.
Your resume should be truthful, because when you get to that networking piece and that interviewing piece, they want to see who you are and that you're genuine. They don't want to hire someone who can't do what they said they can do. So pumping is fine. You should brag. It should be like I said, it's a sell sheet. So
right.
It is your sell sheet. So it should pump you up.
Okay, but here I have always had problem selling myself. I mean, I can't paint a pretty picture. I've done various things. If you look at my resume, you will be a little bit surprised that I've done all these things, but for the love of God, I cannot sell myself. So that's why I hired the resume expert, and I'm nervous about putting that resume to the employers, because I have to study the resume and accept the roles that I have, had. So it's very, I don't know what to do about it. Practice. Okay.
Practice out loud. Out loud practice. And I'm apologizing to everybody on the call, because I know everybody hates this piece, and I know you do. Practicing out loud is the key to getting your narrative down. Practice to Zoom, record it and listen to it back. Find the correct cadence for what you want to say. Find the language that feels comfortable for you to talk about yourself in.
Mm-hmm.
Practice more. Keep practicing. It's the 3 C's. The more comfort you have with your content equals confidence.
Correct.
So the more you just know this, the more confident you'll be when you go in to speak about it. So I would practice out loud. Another little exercise that I also like is, especially when you, like you said, I'm having so much trouble getting my arms around my own story, is starting today, once a day, find something that's positive that you've done and say it out loud. And it doesn't have to be parade inducing, right? It doesn't have to be significant. It can be, wow, I cleaned that kitchen like a badass today. Go me. I'm awesome. Good enough. What that does is it gets you used to talking about yourself in that positive way. That's the first thing. The second thing is it gets you more accustomed to recognizing that you're doing good things on a regular basis. Those things with out loud practicing really helps you to overcome a little bit of that imposter syndrome. And lastly, and not to sales pitch, but work with one of our awesome life coaches on imposter syndrome and limiting beliefs. We have a couple of coaches on staff that are experts in just this space.
Oh, great. Can
yeah.
I get a link to those people, please, if you don't mind?
Justice, if you wouldn't mind sharing, just I would do, sign up for a free consult.
Mhm.
And use the words imposter syndrome and limiting beliefs. And you could say Shari said so. And they will match you with the right coach for you. I don't want to, without knowing you well enough yet, I wouldn't
Right.
want to recommend a specific coach, but we have a few life coaches who this is their expertise.
Mhm.
And just so you know, you're not alone. This is very common, and not only with relaunchers. This is just common.
Okay.
And then
Right.
additionally, I'm going to drop my email right here. So if you want to pull that, you can email me directly
Perfect.
because I'm one of the people that does the pairing. So I can make sure we get you put with the right person to talk to.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you so
Cool.
much, both of you.
You're
Absolutely.
welcome. You're very welcome.
All right.
Excellent.
Well, thank you so much, everyone, for your time today. We really appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing you at any future events. But with that being said, have a great rest of your day and week.
Bye. Thank you, everybody, for
Thank
playing.
you so much, Sherry.